The patient is ready, Doctor.
So it begins. One simple life sacrifice for the good of all mankind. Then us, of course. Scalpel, please. You know, I feel like Christopher Columbus on the verge of discovering a whole new world.
He thought he was in Asia.
This is a much better place.
Yummy!
I love brain. Softly, soft. Yes. Tammy, what's going on? Okay.
You're going to traumatize his brain before we even get it.
The human brain is a lot more resilient than you can think, huh, Bobby? It can repair itself, reprogram itself. It's even capable of deceiving itself, imagining that it's better than it is, just to please itself, huh?
A modern day remake of Matthew Vaughn's Layer Kick, a Coen Brothers end up with Timothy Chalamet. A Citizen Kane prequel, a Midnight Cowboy sequel, Alvin and the Chipmunks deserving of the squeak. There's so many new ways to revisit sideways, but a graphic novel is how we choose to update. But we still hold fast, you can't change the past on the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
On our last T episode, we talked about the 1999 Kevin Williamson film Teaching Mrs. Tingle, the story of an A student whose academic future is threatened by a teacher with bad intentions, questionable teaching methods, and a shockingly nice house. The film starred Katie Holmes, who burst onto the scene only a few years earlier with roles in The Ice Storm and teen television sensation Dawson's Creek. Opposite Holmes in Teaching Mrs. Tingle is Helen Mirren, academically, Melissa Coughlin, confidantly, and Barry Watson, romantically. Teaching Mrs. Tingle was Watson's first feature film role, and his bad boy to Holmes's good girl dynamic was perhaps more shocking to audiences than Helen Mirren's words or actions. In fact, Holmes and Watson, and no, not that Holmes and Watson, were nominated for Best Kiss at the 2000 MTV Movie Awards, along with Drew Barrymore and Michael Vartan for Never Been Kissed, Hilary Swank and Chloe Sevigny for Boys Don't Cry, and Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair for their memorable kiss in Cruel Intentions, for which they took home the iconic Moon Man Award. MTV does love a same-sex kiss. Just ask Jason Biggs and Sean William Scott, who took home the award in 2002 for American Pie 2, Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger, who won for Brokeback Mountain in 2006, Will Ferrell and Sacha Baron Cohen, who won the following year for Talladega Nights, and Ashton Sanders and Jarrell Jerome, who won in 2017 for Moonlight. But there was perhaps a more iconic on-screen same-sex kiss that lost the award in 1999 to Shakespeare in Love's Gwyneth Paltrow and Joseph Fiennes. I, of course, referred to the show-stopping smooch between Matt Dillon, Neve Campbell, and Denise Richards in the 1998 erotic thriller Wild Things. Richards' early film career is filled with risque and risky roles that might otherwise be looked over by burgeoning Hollywood actresses. She got her start in action film parody Loaded Weapon 1, Greg Araki's Nowhere, mockumentary Drop Dead Gorgeous, military satire Starship Troopers, and this episode's film, the 1994 cult classic Tammy and the T-Rex, the story of a high school jock whose future is threatened by a jealous bully, but is given a second chance by a mad scientist with bad intentions, questionable methods, and an animatronic T-Rex. Dan, holy cow!
Wow.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Indeed.
Was this your first time watching this movie?
Yes, it was.
Yours? Did you? Yes, it was. Did you know anything about it before we decided to do this?
No.
Amazing.
Yeah. The stars kind of align. Like, it's just the right balance,
right,
of everything to be exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah, and I feel like we are coming off of kind of a long line of maybe more serious movies and ones that maybe are a little bit more, I don't know, intense. And coming onto this one, what's that?
And like intended to be considered good movies, or dare
artistic.
I say films?
Yes.
Yes. Cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, wow. Tammy and the T-Rex.
Well, I feel like Uncle Buck was a good halfway point between Victim and Tammy and the T-Rex.
That's true. It kind of softened the landing a little bit from like
Right.
Z and Yojimbo. Yeah, I had such a good time watching it. What'd you think?
Yeah, me too. I had so much fun. There's so many moments in it that I just laughed and just thought to myself, like, wow, I love that this is happening. Or like, just I respect it as somebody who has attempted and intended to write many a screenplay, and it's just like, if I could just even get the damn thing done, this is a testament to getting the damn thing done. And
Totally.
it is like, you know what? It doesn't, there's so many things that don't make sense, but the great thing about this movie is it is clearly not concerned with that, nor should its viewers be.
No, and it's really I feel like it knows what it is, and it's set out there to just bring the audience on a wild ride. And it almost does just seem like it's self-aware enough without being too self-aware that it's like winking at the audience too much. But like, you know, having an animatronic T-Rex, and in the movie it is an animatronic T-Rex. It's not like we're talking about like the production, it's an animatronic T-Rex. In the movie it is an animatronic T-Rex, and then it's using a payphone. And the like little puppet arm that they use for it, it's like they're really not trying to make you think, and this is, you know, the year after Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So it's like the world has dinosaur fever, and this is coming at just the right time to kind of like, I don't know, take the piss out of it a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Or just put a different a spin on it and say, like, you know, well, that's the dinosaur movie that hundreds of millions of dollars are going to buy you. Yeah. This is the dinosaur movie.
Hundreds of dollars.
And it's totally, you know what this movie reminds me of, and this may have even been like how I first encountered it. If you can, so picture it 1994 or 1995. Okay. You're in a video store. It's late on a Friday. You're with your friends, and there's nothing really, like, everything is taken, everything is off the shelves. And then you come across this.
Right.
And you're like, what is this? And you know what? Maybe this is after you've already seen Denise Richards in, I know Starship Troopers was probably the first thing. Well, I guess
that was
a Loaded Weapon 1.
97, right?
Yeah.
Starship
So
Troopers.
anyway, let's say you're like, oh, it's the girl from Loaded Weapon 1.
But not like the main girl from Loaded Weapon 1. It's a girl from Loaded Weapon 1.
Yeah. So you're not even... Anyway, you see this movie, you're like, oh, I like dinosaurs. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. And it's got
the guy who played Bernie.
Right. Yeah. Yes. It probably at that time, especially, like, you know, the biggest name on the call sheet there.
Imagine that.
Because Paul Walker does not, at this point, has not been had his big break. Mm-hmm. What a fun movie. It's like, it's that movie you take home, and then you find yourself, like, at first kind of rolling your eyes, and then next thing you know, you're enjoying it.
Totally.
You're laughing, and you're just like, this is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that even the things about it that are like technically offensive are not, are like,
right. Yeah. It's like they shouldn't be getting a pass, but you kind of look at it. It's easy to look at this and say, like, oh boy, 1994, we really should have known better. Right. And because it's not like the movie has zero gravitas, we give it a little bit more of a pass.
It's a little bit like, it's like, God, nobody is taking this thing seriously.
God, no. Do you want to give a little synopsis?
Yeah. Why not? High school hottie Michael is head over heels for cheerleader Tammy, but her jealous ex-boyfriend Billy takes things a step too far by leaving Michael for dead in a wild lion habitat. But as fate would have it, a mad scientist thinks that Michael's brain is the perfect specimen to try out his latest experiment, connecting a human brain to the mechanics of an animatronic T-Rex, making it move and speak based on the commands from the still living brain. But when Michael's brain sedation wears off, he goes on a payback mission to kill his assailants and begin a new and unorthodox life together with Tammy. We've got Denise Richards as Tammy, Paul Walker as Michael, Terry Kaiser as the mad scientist, Theo Forsett as Byron. And as his father, Sheriff Black, J.J. Saunders, who movie buffs would remember or recognize as the moving guy from Beetlejuice that Delia Dietz says her whole, like, you know, be careful with my sculpture, and I don't just mean it's mine, like I own it, like I made it.
Yeah, wow, good eye. Unless that was just an internet.
That was I went on IMDb,
okay,
and it was kind of like this guy looks familiar.
He did look familiar, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so that was it. Okay,
that was that. Oh, and of course, the other, probably most recognizable face in this is also Sean Whalen as Weasel.
And the second that the credits were rolling, the first thing that happens is the credits go, and it's like black screen and like bright yellow writing, and all you see is the title, Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex.
Yes.
Tanny, not Tammy. And immediately you're just like, oh boy, here we go. This is going to be wild. And yes, it's showing, it says the name of the actor and the name of the character beneath it for everybody, which I was like, oh, you don't usually see that in opening credits. And when it said Sean Whalen as Weasel, I was like, mwah, beautiful. I love it. That is wonderful. Sean Whalen, for those who aren't familiar, I mean, it's hard to say what he's most known for.
Probably
maybe
Twister.
I'll say Twister or his Got Milk commercial, the Aaron Burr peanut butter guy. Twister for sure. I love him. My favorite Sean Whalen role is another T-heavy movie, which is That Thing You Do. Oh, and he plays their fan, like the first guy who like becomes their fan and like goes to see them again. He's so good. He's just been in everything. He has a really wonderful social media presence. He answers a lot of questions about his roles. He is actually, I think he directed and is self-releasing a film called, I want to say it's called Crust. And so I did reach out to him and I asked a few questions about Tammy and the T-Rex. He hasn't gotten back to me, but we can do a follow-up if he ever does.
Keep us posted.
He's the kind of guy who would. And I appreciate people like him who understand what it's like to be a fan. And I mean, of the Oneaters first, but then also, but understands for like a cinema fan, wanting to know what it was like behind the scenes of a lot of these movies. And he was part of so many iconic movies, and to be like a character named Weasel in the mid 90s, it's just like Weasel, Wiley, like names like that are going to show up a lot, and he's perfect for it.
That was the time, that was the place,
and he's so good as Weasel.
Yeah, he's great. He's Billy's like stooge. He's Billy's like number one stooge.
He's the only stooge. He's the friend. And one of the three questions, I asked four questions. One of the four questions that I asked Sean Whalen was, how do you suppose Weasel and Billy became friends? Because Billy is like this super aggressive, like awful, terrible guy.
Yeah.
And Weasel's kind of a goofball. And it's like, how do those two become buds?
It's kind of like Weasel is the oh shoot, who's the guy in Beauty and the Beast who's like Gaston's little follower,
who's like in love with him? I don't know the name of the character, but yeah.
The one who sings the song Gaston. It's like Billy is like psychopath Gaston, and Weasel is that other guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Billy is just filled with
no
jealousy.
One reaches and grabs at a dick like Gaston.
Right.
I'm referencing the fight scene.
Okay, this is one of those movies where I was like thinking about how we were going to approach this, and I was like, do we have to just go scene by scene for this movie? I didn't like write down what the scenes were, but it's like you almost have to in order, because the movie starts after those credits. It's a like cheerleader or dance squad practice that you see with Denise Richards over the opening music or whatever, and a moment between her and Paul Walker. And then you get to this scene where Paul Walker who's wearing kind of like football practice garb, I guess you could say.
Is he wearing like the cutoff shirt, like where you see his bare midriff?
Yeah.
Yeah, very 90s.
Oh my God, so 90s. And then of course Billy and Weasel and the gang show up, and the fight that they get into is so wild and
real. Elbows are dropped.
It goes on for so long, and the things they do are just so raw and nasty. I mean, you said it. They grab each other's crotches,
and for those watching on YouTube or Spotify, right? Because you could see Paul Walker's, but you couldn't tell what was going on. Now you see the whole picture there.
Oh yeah,
and it goes on. They don't let go, and it's so insane.
It's like 80 minutes of a 90-minute movie is this fight.
I kind of want to go back. As I'm talking about it, I'm like, I kind of want to go back and watch it again.
Dan, I watched it 2 days in a row because the day after my first watch, I was like, I need to make sure that like what I watched wasn't a dream, because it feels like just so unreal and impossible that it exists. And going back to what you were saying about things that, shouldn't be okay, but we accept are, the character of Byron.
Oh,
who's the son of the police chief or sheriff, whatever, Sheriff Black.
Sheriff.
So Black characters, last name Black, not a good look.
Which it's never really played as a joke. Like that's just played it's just done very straight, but right. Like you
but
can't.
Speaking of things that aren't done very straight is the character of Byron.
Yeah. The gay Black best friend.
Right. And when we think about a movie like this in the mid 90s, and we also think about Mannequin and Mannequin 2 on the Move, also featuring Terry Kaiser as the bad guy.
Oh, right.
It's just such a common trope. And what's the name of the actor who plays Byron?
You have in front of you? Theo Forsett.
Yeah, and Theo Forsett does, exactly what he was told to do, and is fine at it. And I looked him up, and it looks like he's a musician, and I hope that's going well for him. Yeah.
And it's not like there aren't the moments in here where it's kind of like we're not totally playing the character for laughs, but there's way too much, and there's homophobic comments made by the other cops.
Yeah, they refer to his dad as, and they use the F slur.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
And they almost kind of like catch themselves saying it and like stop halfway through the word, and it's like, ugh, you're just making it like worse.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it's something that it's a trope, the character of, Byron that really doesn't belong anymore. Right. And, I mean, it didn't belong then. It doesn't. You could take the character out of the movie. The movie is still absolutely absurd. And actually, like, it's Byron's character is not what adds to the absurdity.
No, I mean, it is nice for Tammy, Denise Richards' character, to have somebody to play off of, and it makes sense for her character to align with people who are, you know, a little bit counter to what you would expect. You know, she's theoretically a super popular girl on the dance squad or cheerleading squad or whatever it happens to be. And the person that she seems to be hanging out with the most isn't just another one of the people that's on the team with her. It's, you know, this, I mean, pretty openly gay guy who's in high school with her. So it kind of just shows a little bit about her character.
Yeah.
And I suppose that if it does nothing else, then it certainly does that. It gives you a good sense of who she is as just being, you know, somebody with a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that, she needs a good friend.
Yeah, totally.
Especially if she's going out with guys like Billy.
Right. I mean, it shows a lack of judgment in her past. And also it's like you look at any other girl in this movie, you know, you see these two girls together who, when they see Paul Walker's character, Michael, I think it's Michael.
Yeah,
Michael, you know, sneaking into Tammy's bedroom at night. Their first thought is, let's go call Billy. Because they're just like, we want to just start some shit. And I don't think that they realized that it was going to result in Billy dragging him into like a wildlife preserve, like
in whatever, like, you know, Southern California town this is. There's just a wild, like, you know, a nature preserve where there are all sorts of like basically cats.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I was like, I am not a zoologist, but I could tell you that these are not cats that like live in the same types of habitats, because there's a panther and there's a lion and it's
and
we've got savanna cats, we've got jungle cats,
right? And there's only like a simple chain link fence that's separating them from like the rest of this small suburban town.
Oh yeah. But no, they drive in there. They drive in there and they drop Michael off. The cats have no interest in them.
Yeah. Billy leaves him for dead, and Michael just gets straight up attacked by a lion and goes into a coma. Absolutely wild.
Crazy.
Just absolutely nuts.
Crazy.
I love it.
Yeah. It was a lot of so
and
much fun.
Sprinkled within here, you have Terry Kaiser's character.
Oh yeah, right.
Who's got his own, you know, goon squad of weirdos that are with him. So there's this one guy, the guy who is in Children of the Corn, who is he's kind of the naysayer to the scientist plan, who thinks that no, doing this with a human brain isn't the right way to do it. We can do this with computers. Okay. And then there's kind of the heavy that kind of has no perspective on things. And then we have the woman who's just kind of the like buxom, I don't know, temptress.
Helga. Yeah, he introduces her as his nurse because he goes into the hospital. What do they call him? And they tell him like, all right, we've got someone for you. And
so when he goes to the hospital, or when he and Helga go to the hospital, they do talk to this one doctor there who knows about, you know, this scientist and is like, ooh, I got a good one for you. Yeah. And it's kind of like I don't know, like, what's that dude's deal? Because he's a shitty guy and he's just still out there working at a hospital. And also, whoever's decision it was, and I feel like it might have been Terry Kaiser's, to go into the hospital smoking a cigarette. Yeah. And then giving the cigarette to the doctor at the hospital.
Who's grateful.
He's
like, oh, thanks. Free cig.
And in any other movie, that would be the weirdest thing.
Right. No, the vibe of this movie is like it's B movie / like porno without the sex.
Yeah.
It reminded me, there were certain movies that it reminded me, and they were all that type of movie that I described where like the video store has one copy of it. And it's like in between all the like blockbusters and
yeah.
Yeah. So it was movies like that, which some of them, I mean, I would say Transylvania 65000. I mean, Transylvania 65000 is like maybe a step above that, but
yeah,
still, it's one of those where, they're going for that vibe. Now, when Michael starts killing people,
right? Yeah. We haven't even talked about him post becoming an animatronic dinosaur. Wild. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's fantastic. Just all of the awful special effects of like the crushed heads.
Well, yeah. I mean, for a lot of them, you see the dinosaur head like coming down and like picking up somebody by the head and tearing their head off. Amazing. We love that.
Oh, yeah. It's so beautifully done, too, in a way to tell you, like, yes, it's supposed to look cheap and cheesy.
And also, I'm not going to, like, spoil anything because if you have not seen this, please go watch this. It's so much fun. But, like, there are some deaths that happen where you're just like, oh, okay, they're dead. They're dead already. Okay. What time? How long is this movie?
Right. Yeah, I did the same thing. And then it was like, oh, there's only 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
It's a short movie.
No, this movie breezes by and is just so much damn fun. And you don't mind that certain deaths happen early because the movie then becomes, well, what happens with this murderous dinosaur version of Michael? Oh my God. I'm just like, thinking about the small details of this movie, like I'm getting flashes in my mind of like, oh my God, I totally forgot about the whole like brain extraction scene and like, Helga kissing Michael's, head half off face, whatever,
right.
Like, all of this weird stuff. And that's Paul Walker, who of course would go on to just become like this, action film icon and teen, I guess romantic drama sensation.
Romantic drama.
Well, he's also in She's All That.
Yeah.
So yeah, he went on to just like do these like actual like legit movies. I mean, obviously Denise Richards also, but like, to have the two like main stars of this movie like completely take off after this, you'd never expect it.
No. And, Denise Richards she had her, a couple of years. And then I think, unfortunately, just the whole Charlie Sheen thing.
Right. Yeah.
But she was in a James Bond movie.
She totally was. Yeah. She had a great late 90s.
Yeah.
And she's been very active. It's just that, it's not the major stuff that's seeking her out. And yeah, she aligned herself with somebody pretty toxic.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. But wow, but this is, but before they were stars, they were in Tammy and the T-Rex.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed like seriously every second of watching this movie. Some of the shots are just like, it can go from the schlockiest, cheesiest shot to like a really beautiful shot. Like there's some stuff when Tammy is like riding on the T-Rex's back where it's just like, well, they put some thought into how this shot was going to be composed, huh?
Yeah.
And it's like, good on them for it. Cause that's what makes this movie special. If it was all just like ridiculousness, then what's the
No,
point?
I mean, yeah, for most of the time they're working from like the Ed Wood playbook, but you know, then you get something that's like straight out of Chariots of Fire.
Well, and you know, that's Ed Wood is a good reference point. You know, Ed Wood would create a lot of his scenes based on what was available to him and what he could beg, borrow, and steal. And that's what this movie really was all about, was they had this opportunity to use this animatronic dinosaur and built a movie around the fact that they had this animatronic dinosaur. And power to them. That's one way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean that's like I said, what the success in this movie is, it got done. It got made.
Yeah.
Investors put money into this.
Yeah. No, Dan, I have a question for you. This is something that I wouldn't be able to kind of envision, but you were a like junior and senior in high school when this was out, and the characters in this movie were also juniors and seniors in high school. How similar was this to your high school experience?
I mean, wow, like spot on, you know. I was looking at you know, the yearbook book recently, and you know, like the cheer team, same thing,
same vibe.
And of course there was the, you know, ex-con alumni who still came and hung around. And
I do have a real question for you though. Do you remember a lot of like fights at your school?
You know what? I do remember fights being a thing. I mean, like when I went to high school. Yeah, it's not, because now I teach high school.
Well, yeah, I'm talking more about, you know, mid-90s when you were in high school.
I remember them being much more of a thing, and it was like, you know, you might get jumped, or like maybe there was an organized or a planned fight, like, oh yeah, no, it's going down, like, you know, over at the Pathmark, you know, the parking lot.
So you were actually, it was like a threat that like anybody could just get jumped?
I wouldn't say I like, you know, lived in fear of it, but I knew kids who got jumped. You get jumped. Like if you had one of those puffy starter jackets, you had like the Charlotte Hornets starter jacket. And I'm talking about the person I knew who got jumped for his starter jacket.
Really? I had a starter jacket. I'm trying to remember. It might have been like a Florida Marlins starter jacket.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
We didn't grow up in Florida.
No. Nor would anyone in Florida need one of those puffy starter jackets.
Never watched a Florida Marlins game.
Well, the Florida Marlins were like kind of a newer team.
Right. Yeah.
At that time. Yeah. I mean, no one liked the Charlotte Hornets. It was just like they had the coolest. It was like that purple and blue.
The purple and like teal.
Yeah.
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 And you know, the Marlins had that like tealy turquoisey thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a big thing at that time.
But yeah, that was, I remember like kids would get jumped. I remember, I don't remember too many fights being too many fights like in the halls. They're like, there would be, or there would be like, you know, go outside and fight.
Right.
But yeah, you know, I was asking some of my students recently about that. I was like, and they were just like, I don't know, they just, if they happen, they just kind of happen. I'm like, really?
So,
there's no, like, they're not planned.
That kind of stuff does still happen.
I mean, yes.
But it's not like a 3:00 high type of situation.
No. And honestly, I think because so much stuff goes on like on social media, and it's actually, it might be like, you know, controversial opinion here, you know, I think worse. Like, I think I'd rather have back like the actual fighting and get rid of the like
the cyberbullying
of cyberbullying and just going around like, you know, the kids that like, you know, go behind each other's backs and the stuff that they do. It's like, man, you know, Like, just go tell them you're gonna, like, this is, you got, like, there's so many alleyways around here. I'm like, there's so many places to fight. You could go and just, like, I'm like, take it a block away from the school.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let me know what's going on. I need plausible deniability.
I'll know what happens when I see who's wearing the starter jacket on Monday. The Seattle Seahawks starter jacket.
Yeah. When I taught in the Bronx, there were definitely fights. There were fights over, like, there were, like, turf fights.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember one time there was a fight. I don't remember what the full story was, but it happened. It was like across the street from the school, and there were kids who got involved. There were parents who got involved.
Really?
Yes. Like, not trying to break up the fight, but getting in on the action.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I mean, not that could not happen anywhere, but, like, I'm just saying these are the kind of things that I've either witnessed or heard about firsthand. Like, hey, this is what just happened outside. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any memories of fights?
I was never in any fights. I really only remember like one or two fights. So, for our listeners, where Dan and I went to high school, the building itself had a, like, one side was very clearly the, like, front of the school, and there was like a large set of steps that went up to kind of a landing area that was in front of, like, the main doors and kind of the windows for the first floor. And I remember there being a fight with and it was two girls, and I remember there being lots of hair pulling. And that's really what I remember the most. There was certainly, people picking on people, but that's the most, like, fight. I mean, closest thing to, Billy and Michael grabbing each other's ding-dongs. Except in their case, it was hair.
Yeah. I've definitely caught one or two of those fights before. Mm-hmm. Those are always the most dangerous ones as a teacher, especially to break up.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like we had a formidable dean of students who was the disciplinarian who was well versed in getting in there and risking flying fingernails.
God, the few times, there were only a couple times that I ever, like, got between kids. And I was just in my mind, like, praying, like, please let them have enough sense in their heads right now to realize what kind of trouble they would be in if they hit me.
Yeah, totally. Yikes. Like, yeah, I mean, in the case of Michael and Billy, you've got the two. Were they cops? Were there cops there?
Like Norval and Norbert, were they the...
Yeah, and they were just kind of, like, giving commentary on, like, what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there were people trying to, like, get them off each other while they were all dick grabbing.
Yeah, they were just like, this is what they call a crotch standoff or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
They were trying to break it up.
It was funny, too, because it was... I was like, it's a very unique fight scene. Can't say I've ever seen another fight scene quite like it.
Absolutely not. And, like, you think about Paul Walker, like the Fast and the Furious movies, the standoff between, like, Vin Diesel and The Rock, where it's like this overproduced, super dramatic thing where, like, entire, like, parking structures are crumbling beneath their feet. And it probably took them like 4 months to shoot the one scene. And it's like, this scene took them 14 minutes to shoot, and then they were moving on. And they kept in every single frame. and it's just as memorable, I think, as like some of those bigger produced ones.
More so. I couldn't tell you what happened. I'm like, this fight, there were elbow drops, there were dick grabs. And then probably if I go back and watch it again, there'll be more things like, oh, right, that happened too.
It's wild, dude. Oh my God. I loved it. Yeah. So, key moments from when Michael is the T-Rex. There's the moment, of course, where he's using the payphone to call Tammy, just to hear her voice.
Yeah.
So good. So ridiculous. You have the like phone being held up to the head. You have the T-Rex picking somebody's like guts out of his teeth. Beautiful.
When the T-Rex picks up Byron and like brushes the dust, like dirt off his shoulder.
You know what? Classy move. I loved it.
It was great. It was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, how else do you show somebody that you're an ally to them?
Right.
If you're a T-Rex.
Yeah. Picks him up. It's like, you're all right.
And this movie actually just like, goes against the whole trope of like the short-armed T-Rex that like can't do anything. This one is just like, no, we're just going to ignore that and let the arms really do a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Manages just fine.
Just fine. Totally good.
Fun movie. So I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about like the film proper?
Well, I don't want to give away how it ends, but I will say that the final scene is absolutely wild and completely bananas, as you would probably imagine.
Oh, they don't give up. They don't stop.
The guy who played Tammy's dad kind of weirded me out a little bit. I was like, this guy's a little like, I don't know, too into his daughter. I don't know. Something about it just kind of gave me the creeps, but maybe that was just me.
Yeah, no, I don't. I didn't quite get that from it.
I think it was just the performance. Like it just didn't feel too like, it didn't feel fatherly enough, I guess.
Right. Yeah. No, it just felt like her like older roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I kind of like was watching for that. I guess I kind of got like a little hint of it, but I was like, nah, they didn't go there.
Yeah. Well, Dan, what would you do to kind of resurrect Tammy and the T-Rex?
Boy. Well, I mean, something about this just kind of like there's a certain subgenre of musicals that are like musical versions of bad like B movies. So there's like, Psycho Beach Party, Zombie Prom. This would fit in really. I was like, it would be really fun as a theater director. And also because like the movie is so low budget that like you could really have fun with it. And like you could have someone just in a, like, you could have fun like making the T-Rex costume.
Right.
Or just like, it could be funny if it's like, running around in a T-Rex, like Bobcat Goldthwait in One Crazy Summer.
Well, also, I mean, thinking about it, it'd be probably similar to a way that you would handle like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. And Little Shop of, I mean, very much Little Shop of Horrors followed the same path from being a B movie to a big musical. Mm-hmm. So I would do that. I would like do like a fun like for like a fringe festival.
Yeah.
Tammy and the T-Rex musical.
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot of fun. The other way I would go with this, and the other way that I would go with this would only work if people were familiar with the original, because I don't think it works if you're not. But a big budget remake
of Tammy, I like that.
Like Tammy and the T-Rex, like fucking IMAX, like Denis Villeneuve's Tammy and the T-Rex. Like, I want like it needs to follow the same beats, but just do it like really seriously and with like
same exact script.
Yeah.
Don't change a word.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say shot for shot remake here. And maybe we don't have the like as much of the silliness in the fights, but you need to know, like, you need to know that like you're watching it, and when you're seeing something happen in the fight scene, you're like, oh, that's in place of the dick grabbing.
Yeah.
So but that's the thing is I don't think a big budget Tammy and the T-Rex works if you don't know what the original is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So those are my ideas.
That's
I think
fun.
I lean towards the musical because it does not rely on it. And in fact, like a musical would probably get more people to see it. And this is the type of movie you'd have fun watching with your community theater like musical cast.
Right. Or your high school friends.
Yeah.
It's that type of thing that you would discover at that time where it's like, yes, there are scenes that are, adult oriented, but there's nothing obscene.
No, and the musicals that are done in high schools have way no. You could do this for a high school, and I mean I should stop talking about it and just start doing. Hey, great plug for it's a great idea, but I'll never do it.
Yeah. Hey, I have a great idea, but I'll never do it. The podcast that I do with my buddy Louise, the only great idea that we've had that we've actually done. So anyway,
but yes. I should, because man, if you're making money off those high school musicals, that's a good business to be in.
I love it.
Cool. Awesome. But I'll start crafting lyrics. What's your plan?
I would love to see an animated television series. That was, I don't even know if Adult Swim is around anymore, but kind of that, geared towards 20 somethings.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed for the stoner kids essentially. But you could do a lot more with it. And part of the T-Rex situation is like, his brain can be plugged into a lot of different types of things. And so that can open up possibilities for a lot of different plot lines. And it's just other ways to kind of keep Michael alive. And I'm doing that in quotes, in other different vessels. So, yeah. But I do have to give a big shout out
to charge the electric vehicle overnight. Michael.
So I do want to give a shout out to the distributor Vinegar Syndrome, who did do a 4K release on Blu-ray for this, and a collector's edition that the second I stopped, I turned it off after watching it. I looked it up, and unfortunately it's a little too rich for my blood, but I definitely considered going out and picking it up because I could see myself watching this a lot, and I'd be curious to see. I think there's like commentary tracks on it and everything. Like
magnificent. I
know. Like I want to check out more about this movie. It's one I'll definitely be revisiting. And also it's like, I watched it by myself, and this is one that you have to watch with other people. So there's that.
Yeah, definitely. Oh boy. I should rent a theater out and host a screening.
Ooh, that'd be really fun.
Yeah.
I bet that it wouldn't be that expensive to get the licensing for that one.
No, probably not.
Or just put on that Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray.
I guess.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Awesome.
So, I love the movie. I could talk about it forever. I just keep on thinking of little like shots and scenes from it all the time. If all of you out there have perhaps seen the movie and have an idea for how you'd want to bring it back, email us ruinedchildhoodspod@gmail.com. Visit ruinedchildhoodspod.com for all sorts of fun stuff. Check us out on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever. Lots of fun stuff on those. What's up, Dan? You got something on your mind?
I was going to say, like, I want to hear if people check out this movie for the first time. Like, let us know what you think of it.
Yeah. You YouTube commenters out there, you're pretty active. So drop a comment on Spotify. You can leave a comment. We'd love to hear what people think about Tammy and the T-Rex. Holy cow. I don't even know. It's going to be hard for any other movie that we cover to be as enjoyable of a watch as this one.
Yeah, this enjoyment, absolutely. Entertainment plus.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and on this season of Ruined Childhoods, what we're doing is we are covering a year's worth of movies. We are going up the alphabet in alphabetical order by title, and then back down the alphabet, Z to A, and we are on our way down. That was our T episode. Dan, what are we doing for our next S episode?
The S episode is going to be 1972's Sisters, directed by Brian De Palma, starring Margot Kidder, Charles Durning, William Finley. And yeah, certainly I've heard I've heard about this movie.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I haven't seen it, and I'm excited to be able to check it out.
Not our first stop in the De Palma cinematic universe.
No. Nope. Totally.
So I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, this is going to be a real interesting one. And we're
going to need a really like R is going to have to, we'll have to like The Remains of the Day or something.
No.
Something just very just basic, just standard.
Well, we have some discussing to do there.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it. That's not what we do, but
yeah. Well, Dan, as you are riding off into the sunset with Denise Richards on your back, I wish you a good journey.
Good journey.